Well, guys, welcome to DCD Podcast, episode number 16. Today, joined by Alexander, the Sonic fanboy himself. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing pretty well, and Sonic is deserving of everybody's fanboyism. How are you?
Red Sox did something.
Yeah. How was your week?
Red Sox did something.
We didn't really talk that much this week.
What?
We didn't really talk that much this week. Usually we
Nope.
have a little bit more interaction with one another throughout the week, but this week, not really.
Yeah.
So how was your week? Anything good happen? I know you just went to Arby's. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I guess. Red Sox won.
That's
Headed
also
to the World
very
Series.
exciting if you're a Red Sox fan.
Celtics won. Bruins
True.
got smacked by Calgary.
Well, you can't win them all.
49ers suck. Almost won.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that squad kind of like before Garoppolo got there. They just need a better quarterback. I think CJ Beathard is a really good backup. I don't know that his ceiling is an NFL starter. Could be wrong on that. I hope I am for his sake. But yeah, they're,
And
what can you do about injuries, man?
Call of Duty
injuries
came
stink.
out.
Call of Duty came out.
That's all I've been doing.
Yeah, really?
What about you?
My week?
Yeah. Not
Dude,
streaming.
Not streaming. Had some other obligations that have come up throughout the week and just haven't had the ability to stream. Did some weekend league streams last week. So, from content creation standpoint, that's all I've done. Feels bad, honestly. I wish that I got more stuff out this week than I did, but what can you do? Duty calls,
More than me.
other obligations come up. Yeah, man. Real quick, stressful week, but a good week. Got a lot of work done, and things should be back to normal now. And got some exciting stuff coming to the channel soon. I don't really want to go into too many details about that, but nevertheless, I did want to ask you. You've made the decision to move on from an old channel and start anew.
Yeah.
So how's that coming along? Still
Haven't made a video yet.
Still sticking to your guns on that, or
Yeah.
really? Okay. So there's gonna be my sub box has so many Andy channels in it. I just have to say, it's at least 5 at this point.
Just put the one.
And if we count DCD, it's like 6.
Just put the one that I currently says the one.
I am that guy who subscribes with my Purple Swordfish YouTube channel, not with my personal
YouTube
YouTube
not
account.
sub with Alexander Aldridge account.
No, dude, I'm totally waiting until we're like at 999, and I'm gonna be like 1,000. I'm gonna be that guy.
Oh, you meant on DCD?
Yeah, on DCD.
I'm not sub.
Yeah, I'm totally that. I mean, I believe it because we only have 30. I think last time I checked, it was like 21 subs. And I realize it's a climb. It's a constant grind to try and get subs, even with my subscriber base and your subscriber bases on all your channels. It's difficult to get people to migrate over to a podcast. And I think a lot of the growth has been what I would consider to be organic almost. But when we do get to 999 on DCD,
And I quit.
I'm going to get, no, I mean, not episodes. I'm talking about subs. Yeah.
Subs.
Yeah. If we make it to 999, we will run out of things to talk about. We will really, truly be talking about all kinds of weird stuff. I got all kinds of weird stuff up here that I want to talk about. Backup
show we plan on talking.
What was the backup show?
We talked about pyramids.
So I know the listeners don't want it, and you guys can give us feedback in case you do want it. But I'm pretty sure you don't.
The backup podcast we talk about aliens.
Well, no, but we could do a whole episode on that, dude. I got so much stuff that I would love to talk about on that. But rest in peace to Andy's latest YouTube venture, and I wish you luck on the new one, man. I hope it works out for you, and I hope that it's longer lived. I miss your content. I'm not trying every time. but I'm not trying to put you over or anything here. But like I really mean it, man. Like it sucks not having your content around. So let's get into some first off, before we get into listener questions, I wanted to quickly do something that I'm gonna call oops, we made a mistake. Here's a correction. I'm going to come up with a better name for this segment, but until then, we're going to go with, oops,
Nope, we'll
I made a
with
mistake.
That's the name.
So, oops, we made a mistake. Here's a correction or two.
When you get like a little like soundboard, like,
yeah,
click it and plays a sound.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get something in there.
A little song. Oops, we messed up.
Yeah. So sorry. So yeah, Jared was really cool. He's at Spoon Sandwich on Twitter. He's changed his handle on Twitter for Halloween to Spook Sandwich, which I thought was kind of cool. But nevertheless, he sent me a correction on Project xCloud. It turns out, Andy, you're not even going to need an Xbox console to use it. You'll be able to use any device. And it's basically Xbox as a service, if that makes sense. Yeah. He compared it to Google is working on a project that's very similar where they showed off somebody playing Assassin's Creed within a Chrome browser. And it's basically remote computing. So it's like custom built Azure servers. Azure? I don't know how they pronounce that exactly, but nevertheless, it is remote computing, which Jared says is the future. I'm not sure about that. I always think internet latency might end up being some kind of an issue, but very exciting stuff. So that's our correction for the week. Let's get into some Twitter questions. Lots of listener questions this week.
More hypothetical soundboard. Twitter questions.
Yeah. Y'all got questions. We got answers. So
we ran a poll on the Twitter questions where I asked if you guys were down for us picking foreign films for the film club. We had 25% say yes, 17% say no, and 58% say yes, and Alex is an egg.
Yeah, I was part of that. Yes, and Alex is an egg. I've accepted it at this point.
All right, moving into the questions. First one, we don't actually have a question. It's a suggestion. It is 4 film club movies should only be recommended based on availability. In my opinion, should be accessible on Netflix or Hulu. Having to pay rental is lame. I personally would not pay the rental fees. So it's something we'll look into in the future or in our future picks.
It's a fair suggestion. I don't know that Andy's prepared this week for it, and I will also say it'll be incredibly hard for when listeners suggest movies to make sure.
Yeah.
I will do my best, but I
mean, I tried. I don't think I did last week, but I tried telling you guys where you can check it out whenever I suggested it.
Yeah, I really try, and I will do a better job of that going forward. I want to make it accessible for all you guys. So great suggestion there from Bobby. Great friend of the show. What do we got next, Andy?
It's from the same person. So about World of Warcraft stream. When's it happening? I still don't know.
Oh, come on, Andy.
All right, next question.
Kill him.
We have... How does xCloud actually... Oh, we already talked about... So
yeah,
we have questions for... Yeah, Jared, there's his question.
I think Jared thought I might not have done the correction thing.
Yeah,
so
we did the correction.
But
so
shout out again to Jared.
And we have question for Alex. How difficult is it to comb your hair in the morning?
It's pretty hard, man. It's pretty hard. There's only one other YouTube content creator.
When's the last time you combed your hair? Actually.
Okay, yeah. Like, all joking aside... I really have to think about this.
I know when. My last time. I stopped combing my hair in the 6th grade.
See, that one's hard for me to believe. Well, not hard for me to believe, but it's a little interesting because most people can't do that. But I do know that from the very brief time that I did have hair, you can kind of train it to gain like a natural part depending on the makeup of your hair. I would have to say the last time I combed my hair was probably 2007. I was trying... Oh my God, this is embarrassing. So 2007, No. So like a little bit of backstory with my hair. When I was growing up as a kid, my grandfather used to take me to the barber. It was like kind of like a bonding thing, and it was a good bonding experience. Like, shout out to Grandpa Aldrich, love you, man. He always used to take us to the barber, but the barber that he took us to was a former military barber. So you know what their haircut is, buzz cut, right? So like I grew up getting buzz cuts, right? And then like sometimes, like in my middle school years and high school years, like I had a fade where it was like really, really short on the sides, a little bit longer on the top. And I used to just throw a little gel in it and just kind of push it down. Right. But, for a very brief time in 2007, I stopped buzz cutting my hair because when I became an adult, I was broke. Living paycheck to paycheck, working retail. I used to just buzz cut my hair with a $20 pair of clippers that I got at Walmart. But I decided to start growing it out. And at one point, I was trying to grow it out long enough to get like the Pat Riley, like fully slicked back hairstyle. But didn't go through with it completely. But I used to comb it then. So that's 2007. Oh my God. I haven't combed my hair in like
11 years.
A decade.
I mean,
time flies. You haven't either.
8 years for me.
Oh, geez. Wow. It's not even a decade.
All right. We have a question from Dumbest Sphinx. Tell us stories about any injuries you've had.
Oh, God. I've had so many.
I've had one interesting injury.
Okay.
So I got shot in the eye with an airsoft gun. I went blind for a week.
Yeah, that's the really bad one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're playing airsoft. We had a pair of goggles or glasses, whatever you want to call them. And I was like, if someone's going to get shot in the eye, it's going to be me. So I gave my glasses to the other guy. Because he was a guest at my house. Happens the game. I'm hiding behind my mom's car. Peek out. I get shot in the eye with an airsoft gun. Go blind. Had to go to the ER. Was blind for a week. It was pretty fun. Fun time.
Yeah, I've had so many. So many. Like, I'll just go over some of the really interesting ones. So, one time I was in ninth grade playing high school football, and I got put in the game. It was a blowout. I was doing special teams. Guy comes up to me afterwards, and basically a cheap shot. And he knew that, the edges of his face mask on his helmet were pretty sharp. And he got me on the pinky here. Actually, this pinky. Still have a pretty bad scar there to this day. And I remember I didn't even know that I had been cut open. So I was lining up for the next play. It's first down, and this one kid on the O-line of the opposing team saw blood just running down my arm. Yeah. And he goes to the ref, and he's like, "Ref, he's bleeding." And he's like really like freaked out about the blood. Yeah. And I look at my arm, and I see it, and I'm like, I'm really busted open. I didn't think it was that bad. So I ended up having to get about, I think, half a dozen stitches in my pinky. I've had a lot of stitches. Yeah. Had about half a dozen. Had a half a dozen on the bottom of my foot.
I've been glued up though.
Yeah, I stepped on a glass in my house. My mom had a cat. Cat knocked over a glass. I'm walking through the house. It's dark. Broken glass on the floor. It goes right through my middle toe. Yeah. Pretty much down to the bone. Had to get that stitched up. Those stitches came out, and I put them back in myself, and my mom got really mad at me. But I was like, I'm not going back to the ER. Just not going to happen. So I basically stitched myself back up. That was a fun time. Cut this finger. Ashley calls it the butt finger because I cut open my finger. This was like when Ashley and I were still early in the stages of dating, and I pulled down my garage door, cut myself on some metal, and as you can see, my finger has like this little extra nub on it. It's like a little butt. on my index finger. But yeah, that got sliced open. I had to get about half a dozen stitches there. So I've had a lot of that. I broke a
Broken
bone.
bones.
Yeah, I broke the tip of my pinky. As you can see, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, it's still not perfectly straight because I broke the pinky finger catching a football. The guy really zinged it in there and it jammed and it broke.
I broke a bone behind my eye, like in my skull.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Something that me and probably like 1,000 other people in history have ever done.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of, it's almost always sports related. Other than the garage door thing, that was just me being dumb. But
I mean, I guess you could say that for mine too, because airsoft you can consider a sport.
it's a sport.
And then I got sliced open right there. You can't really see it in the camera from in a fight, which, fighting is a sport.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of fights. I know that's not the question. A lot of fights. Never got an injury from a fight, but yeah, lots of sports injuries, lots of stitches. The last time I got stitches, they were like, yeah, it doesn't seem like the painkiller is working because, they got to give you that, like, local Nova. I think it's Nova. So they were like, yeah, man, we're injecting the painkiller and it's not really working. I'm like, just stitch it up. I just want to get out of here. I know it's going to hurt. Just do it. I'm used to it.
All right, next up we have Red Dead Redemption 2 installation size.
Oh yeah. By the way, thanks for all the listener questions. Shout out to Dumbest Sphinx. Glad your Red Sox won.
Apparently 99 gigs on PS4 and 107 on Xbox One.
Yeah, I just gotta say, man, I just wanted to put this on there to just say, man, look how big these games are getting. I know we keep talking about it week after week, but
I think it's the third Xbox game to open at 100 plus gigs.
It's ridiculous.
Which would be Gears 4, Forza 7, and now this.
So I don't know if you feel the same way, Andy. I mostly put it on there for this reason. Originally, GameStop, when I worked at GameStop, used to look at the game installation size and say, this is why digital distribution won't work. But they didn't think about the main thing that they're doing to kind of kill that, which is you can, like, if you buy the game digitally, you can preload it. I know you do that, where you just basically preload it, and then at midnight you can boot it up, which is the smart thing to do. And the disc version, by the way, is basically now, most games, it's just a license on a disc where it basically spins up, confirms you have the game, and then it downloads everything anyway. But some do some install, some download, all that. It's way more technical than I want to get into it. But do you think it's time for console manufacturers to start putting bigger hard drives in systems?
I mean, they have terabytes now. Like, now...
That's puny.
But still,
After they format that terabyte and put the operating system on it, with games like this, you want to be able to play 5 or 6.
Next console will have 100 terabytes.
I don't think it needs 100, but I mean, come on, man. Like this was the console generation, and I don't know if you're gonna agree with me.
How many gigs did the Xbox 360 have at launch? What, 16?
20.
20.
It came with a 20. Well, you could buy 2 versions. You could buy the Xbox 360 Core, which, by the way, the whole time I worked at GameStop, I think I sold 3 of them. And that one, you could get like a 64 megabyte memory card if you really wanted to cheap out. But generally speaking, all those people came back later and bought hard drives.
Massive hard drive.
The clip-on hard drive with the proprietary port, because Microsoft was greedy and didn't want you to hook up external hard drives until much, much later when they realized it was not consumer friendly. It's a rant for another day. But I think this console generation, both console manufacturers, Sony and Xbox, used very similar CPU architecture that was outdated and acted as a bottleneck. And then in addition to that, launching with 500 gig hard drives is the only word I can think of is anemic. I recently built a PC for a friend and told that friend, there's no way on God's green earth that you're not going to put at least a 1 terabyte hard drive in this thing. Like,
who'd you say that to?
Huh?
Who'd you say that to?
Some idiot named Andy that doesn't make thumbnails for podcasts.
Shut up.
I had to throw it in there. I love you, I love you, pal. Please, I'm just joking, but
I'll just stop making thumbnails.
okay, that's fine, dude. Then they're just gonna go out with whatever. I don't know what they're gonna go out with. I might just,
the like little screen cap it makes.
dude. I'll just pick a picture of Nicolas Cage each week, and I'll be like, well, episode 16,
We
you
may
get a
get more
picture.
views from that.
We might. He's a good-looking guy.
I feel like we would get more views just pictures of Nick Cage.
Good-looking guy, entertaining guy, underrated actor.
We just wore Nick Cage masks the entire time during podcast.
I mean, here's a good question. I always like to ask people this. What's your favorite Nick Cage movie?
National Treasure, the GOAT.
Oh, okay. Mine's
No,
Face
kidding.
Off.
Probably, I don't know.
There's a lot of good ones, but I'd go with Face Off. So, anyway, back to my point. I just think that they got to put bigger hard drives in these systems, man. It's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to buy an external hard drive. I miss the days when, I remember the original Xbox launch with the hard drive that was 10 gigs. And at the time, 10 gigs was, I know some of them came with 8 gig models later on, but 10 gigs, you never ran out of room on your Xbox. You could load it up with music and all that other nonsense. Same
I'd
thing
probably
with
go
the
National
360.
Treasure. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
If I watch it now, probably Face Off.
It's a good answer.
But his new movie's good, Mandy. His 93 in Rotten Tomatoes right now.
I'll have to check it out.
It is, yeah. You can stream it because it didn't come out of the movies.
So let's move on to our next topic, Andy. Where do you want to go next?
Gotta go to Call of Duty opening week. Thoughts and review. And it's amazing. I love it. It's a great COD. I'm currently second prestige, level 6. I have a 2 KD. I win. My record's like 160 and 30 something.
Wow.
So I'm just smacking kids on COD.
See, I'm saying wow because that's better than I've ever done in COD. So.
And I mean, it's fun. Multiplayer is a blast. Playing with a lot of friends, which I haven't done that since Black Ops 2, maybe
I think
3.
that's the biggest deal. That's the biggest deal is having people that you can play with, because when I ran out of people to play Call of Duty with, I stopped buying the game.
Yeah, I played zombies. It's really fun. There's 4 zombie maps to open up. 4 zombie maps. That 3 of them are the biggest maps ever made.
Yeah.
So you can see where the campaign, where all that time and money went.
So I guess my question to you would be, as someone who walked away from the game pretty much entirely, other than the Modern Warfare remaster, when I walked away from it with Advanced Warfare, do you think I should pick it up?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, because I had a lot of fun with the beta, but again, that was just Blackout.
there was a multiplayer beta. You didn't play it, though.
No, I did not play that. I did not jump into that.
I barely touched Blackout, to be honest, too.
I regret it. Well, I don't think that I would spend most of my time in Blackout. I think that I've always found Team Deathmatch to be the most fun because it's easy to just jump in with friends, get a party going, do all that. But
more I really like Control. It's a new game mode. Stuff like that. I play a lot of Capture Mosh Pit, which is a mixture between Domination, Hardpoint, and Control. Or I just play Control. That's what I'm playing.
Well, I mean,
and some Kill Confirmed whenever I don't have when I'm only playing with one other person, I'll play some Kill Confirmed because I'm trying to win at the same time.
A few follow-up questions for you if you'd like to indulge me.
Before, as of right now, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
So that was one of my follow-up questions. Second one, I don't want to beat this dead horse, but I just want to make sure. Do you miss single player at all?
Never.
Not even
I've
a
only
thought?
played 3 of them, so.
Not even, okay. That's fair.
I played one of them because there was a big ice storm where I live. And we didn't have power we didn't have internet. We had power. Most people didn't have power. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I played through a lot of 3 COD campaigns through that. And that's the only time I ever touched them. I tried to play Ghost campaign whenever Xbox Live servers were down at one point. I got 2 minutes into the first mission and was like, I'm not playing this.
Yeah.
Call of Duties aren't made for single player; they're made for multiplayer.
Nowadays, yeah.
They get sold for multiplayer. Now, there is no single player.
Yeah. It's amazing how things change, even within one game franchise over the course of time. But
I mean, I've been playing COD for 2007, so 11 years. I barely touched a campaign.
evolve or die, unfortunately, which is a good
Adapt or
segue
die.
into
By Moneyball.
what?
It's a quote from Moneyball.
It is.
Adapt or die.
Oh, I thought it was evolve or die. Well, look at that. I screwed it up. That'll be in corrections next week.
I mean, corrections right now.
Okay. Whoops, I made a mistake. Here's a correction. All right. So,
Any other questions?
no, dude. That you nailed it. I had 2 follow-up questions. You hit both. So, 9 out of 10, high praise, and don't miss single player at all, which I expected from you, but I just wanted to confirm. So,
Opening night,
Yeah.
I had a blast. That's the most fun I've been playing video games in forever.
yeah.
I started off 17-0 with a 3 KD. My first 17 games.
I gotta say, like, this year, I know a lot of people are saying, well, Alex, you really enjoyed Madden when it first came out this year, and I really did, and I still enjoy it for the most part.
I just deleted it today.
Oh, well, rip. But
Yeah.
aside from, some of the ragey weekend league streams, which I think anybody would rage, or either that or just turn the stream off entirely or turn the game off. Aside from that, I think this year's Madden is a strong one. But I got to say, like, the last game that really gave me that feeling that you're talking about, where it's just like, wow, this is just a really fun game and I'm just enjoying the hell out of it, would be Mega Man 11. Like, popping that in, playing that. I mean, it was just like, wow, this is what we've wanted for a while. And I feel like this game is kind of the Mega Man 11 for the Call of Duty fan base. I know there's a couple detractors out there that I've seen, but generally speaking, people that I know that either had fallen out of Call of Duty or been big fans have gotten back into this one. And it's kind of refreshing.
For a while.
Well, I know you did, and I know a lot of other people did, and I think that was a huge step in the right direction. That's just Alex's take on it from watching a lot of gameplay.
It was a step in the right direction, and then they completely went away from it.
I get that, but I think that this is evidence that if you listen to your fan base and you make a fun game, those are really 2 important components that go along.
Treyarch are 4 for 4. All Treyarch games are amazing. COD. All Treyarch CODs.
There was a time when people used to avoid Treyarch games. Like when they did Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1.
Actually, they're 5 for 5 in my eyes.
Did you play Call of Duty 3?
No.
Okay, because that was the first Treyarch game, and I remember that was my first introduction to people telling me about Infinity Ward versus Treyarch, and like this guy came in the story. He's like, "Oh, that's a Treyarch game. I don't play the Treyarch games. The Infinity Ward ones are better." I never played Call of Duty 3. It looked really good.
I mean, big old Optic Hex is his favorite COD, so.
I played Call of Duty 2.
Know who Optic Hex is?
No.
No, he's the owner of Optic.
Oh. Well, good for him. He's built an empire.
Yeah, like he started it.
Yeah.
Back when there wasn't clans, and now.
Yeah, look at him now.
The biggest one.
Look at him now.
One of the biggest ones. Technically.
Him and Fuzz. Them and Fuzz, right?
FaZe.
Oh, yeah, them, yeah.
Yeah, FaZe technically by followers the biggest clan in the world.
Well, there you go. But
besides,
good to see Call of Duty back on top. I hope it does well for them. Maybe Activision could take some of that money and put it into the next World of Warcraft game. Yeah.
No.
Come on, man.
World of Warcraft 2 is not happening.
It doesn't have to. You just keep making a different game. I think eventually they're going to...
It's one game.
I'm not going to get into all the tech behind it, but that's a whole different... I could talk for about 15 minutes on that. So anyway, let's move on.
If they add update to Minecraft, is it a different game or is it still Minecraft?
No, but I see what you're saying. I don't think that each expansion is a new iteration. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. They're expansions, but my thing is... I truly believe that World of Warcraft eventually will have to draw a line. It's not even going to have to be a really hard line either. I mean, and just say, hey, we've got to redo this engine and optimize it for modern CPUs. Because what's happening right now with World of Warcraft that's a little bit dangerous is it's a very CPU dependent game, and it also doesn't take full advantage of multi-core CPUs that are modern, because it's running an engine that was looking for an Intel Core Duo, I believe. That'll be in correction corner next week. But, anyway, they have not optimized the game for CPU. They do the best they can. They have wonderful people working there. But my thing is, like, at some point they're going to have to tell all the 45-year-old people that don't want to upgrade their PC because they have some kind of sentimental attachment to it. Because there are those players in World of Warcraft who are like, I'm not going to buy a new computer. I'm not buying a new computer to play the new expansion. And you're like, how old is your computer? Like, yeah, I built it in 2002. Dude, it's time to move on. Like 2002, I was in...
Back in the old days, this was the cream of the crop.
Yeah, I mean, it is wonderful that you can run World of Warcraft conceivably on like a Raspberry Pi. It's not going to run well, but you can. I just think that at some point, World of Warcraft is going to have to say, from this expansion on, we're doing a new engine that just takes better advantage of CPUs and graphics cards, by the way, so that it can look better and it can run better at a better frame rate.
4K World of Warcraft, make it happen.
I played in 4K. I played it in 4K last night by mistake.
VR World of Warcraft,
and
make it happen.
I turned it on and I was just like, oh, just like could not believe how nice it was. Had to get a new pair of pants.
Well,
Can't
they
go
made
into too much
World
more
of Warcraft
detail.
2 VR only.
No, I don't think that would work. I know there's a VR MMO out there, and it looks very interesting to me.
VR chat?
No, it's not VR chat. It's something else. I forget the name of it. I'd have to look it up.
I think VR chat's MMO.
Kind of. I'm talking about this one actually has like quests, and you interact with other people, and you level up, and you get new abilities, and there's...
In VR chat, you try to find a way.
Well, I think VR chat is actually a really good example of a wonderful social experiment. Yeah. I thought that it was just an amazing social experiment. People could study that for months.
Have you ever? That reminded me. Have you ever heard of? What's it called? But there was a social experiment that this guy's trying to run in 2021. I think it is. Mm-hmm. He's making a movie.
Okay.
It's a month long. It will only play once in theaters, and once it's done, he's gonna destroy the only copy of it. Being played once in one theater for a month straight. There's a trailer for it that is 6 hours long, I believe, or 7 hours long. What's your thoughts on that? You have any opinion on that? Did you try it out?
No, I mean, that sounds worse than Jury Duty to me. Not the Pauly Shore movie, but like, there's...
it's a 72-minute long movie for a 720-hour movie.
Dude, I'm just gonna be completely honest right now. That's one of the most... I was gonna say something, but I'd have to censor it. I'm not gonna do that this week. It's one of the craziest ideas I've ever heard. I hope it works out for him.
The 720-minute trailer, I watched a sped-up version.
Yeah.
And someone that builds a house out of sticks and then deassembles it.
Okay, well, Andy, I just think, okay, it's one of those things. I hate to quote Jurassic Park, but it is one of those questions. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And I just don't see anybody going to see that. Who's going to make that kind of a time commitment?
The thing, like, they said, like, you can buy a ticket for it and come back whenever you want. It's called Ambiance, by the way. That's the name of the movie.
What a terrible, terrible idea. I wouldn't run that if I was a movie theater.
Projected release date, December 31st, 2020. It will have a runtime of 720 hours or 30 days. It will be screened globally. Once the film's initial screening is completed, Weberg will destroy the only existing literal copy of the entire movie, which will be said as the longest film made that doesn't exist.
So, essentially, he's created something that nobody will ever get to experience the full thing.
It'll be the second longest film ever made, which apparently there's a longer one.
Well, I'm sure there is a longer one out there, but I'm just going out on a limb here. Nobody's ever going to be able to watch this thing in full, so it's ridiculous. The premise is ridiculous. It's
you watch it 1 hour every day. You can watch it for 2 years.
But Andy, you can't. There's no on-demand version. It's going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So the only way somebody could legitimately watch this would be if they were to stay awake for 720 hours, which we know is humanly impossible. Maybe if you were a machine from a machine race or something, but that doesn't exist yet. I don't know, man. I just think it's a publicity stunt. But kudos to him. I hope he makes money on it. I don't wish him any ill will. I won't be a part of it.
Speaking of movies,
what theater would run that, by the way? Why would you want to tie up a movie theater for a month?
As a theater employee, if that came out, I quit. Yeah, I'm just gonna quit.
It's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to crap on somebody's good time, but
Moneyball.
Yeah, Moneyball. Now onto a good movie.
We just need music for this. Film Club. Da-da. Sorry, I'm just making things up. All right, so Moneyball.
I wish I was musical. Thoughts? I would make some jingles. But when it comes to Moneyball, I know that this is the first time that both of us... Yeah, this is the first time that both of us watched this movie. And I have to say, I was shocked that I didn't make the time to watch this before. Because as I said in last week's episode, I love baseball movies in general. I am struggling to think of a baseball movie that I don't like that I've seen. But this is definitely up there. This is up there with Bull Durham for me. Bull Durham to me is the greatest baseball movie of all time. Just my opinion. I'd put Moneyball up there in the top 5 of baseball movies after seeing it. I loved it. I loved the way it was shot, how it implemented real life footage from actual games. Even when they had like the way that they cast this movie, like when they were playing in the movie and it wasn't actual players, it still looked believable and real. And I know that it's not necessarily completely a true story. They mix some things up because there are certain people that didn't want their likeness used.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's very, very accurate.
It's very accurate other than Jonah Hill's character.
Yeah, it just changed his name. And then he also got, in the movie, he goes to the A's at the beginning of the season, but he actually does in 1998, I think. And it's based on 2002, Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, so, I mean, overall...
It's fairly accurate.
Yeah, it's fairly accurate. I think they did the best they could, considering the guy who was the main motivation for creating the character that Jonah Hill plays was... he was unwilling to have his likeness used in the movie, and he was also apparently very uncomfortable with them using his, I guess, his name in the book. Anyway, overall, really great performance from Brad Pitt. I already liked Brad Pitt. I can't really think of many movies that he's been in that I didn't like, and I really like Jonah Hill. So like, this was also probably the first time I've seen him in a serious role that I really liked. But he's good. He doesn't have to be in a comedy.
There's a very funny quote. I forgot by who, but one of the A's players, he said, they're talking about the movie, and he goes, there's one thing that Brad Pitt is a perfect role for him, because Billy Bean is just as good looking as Brad Pitt. And he goes, actually, I would say he's better looking than Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Billy Bean was and still is a very nice looking gentleman, I'm sure by most people's accounts. But I thought Brad Pitt did a great job. Thought Jonah Hill did a tremendous job in the movie, and really enjoyable.
John Henry's appearance.
Yeah, John Henry's appearance was a shocker. I didn't expect that. And you know what I really liked about this movie more than anything else? It was fun. It had its highs. It has lows. A little bit of suspense, a little bit of drama. Even though I knew what had happened, there was a little bit of suspense and drama. Oh, well, I remember these A's teams. I remember all these guys going to the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Mets and so on and so forth. And I remember everybody thinking the Oakland A's had basically been pillaged, which they were, and that was a real problem for the A's. It was a real problem for the Marlins. It was a problem for the Orioles in some case. I mean, there's a lot of teams in that era that the Yankees, the Royals especially, the Yankees and the Red Sox and the who's of baseball would kind of pillage your team once guys were out of arbitration. It still happens now to an extent. Nevertheless, I knew what happened in the movie, but there was some suspense and drama in there, even just with the good acting, the good writing, and all that. The last thing I'll say on the movie is I really like that it ended it wasn't like a real happy ending or anything like that. It was real to life. Like it basically mimicked what happened in life. What
actually happened?
Which is he didn't take this is not a spoiler. Yeah, like he never took the job with the Red Sox. And he stayed where he was because he wanted to be true to something that he set out to do, which I think is really admirable. But it kind of ends on like a unexpected note. There's no, hey, everything turned out great, which you kind of expect in a sports movie. But I thought it was well done. Overall, I really enjoyed it.
Speaking about the declined Red Sox job.
Yeah.
Is so he didn't sign with the Red Sox. They went with Theo Epstein, which they still found success. They won the World Series in 2004. And when the movie came out, there was rumors that Billy Beane was going to move to the Cubs because his daughter is going to school in Ohio.
Yeah.
But Theo Epstein also took that job and also won the World Series with the Cubs.
Yeah. Theo Epstein's a really great GM.
Yeah.
Front office guy, whatever his title is right now.
President.
But yeah, president. But great movie. I would recommend it to anybody who likes baseball movies, and I certainly learned a lot. I learned a lot about sabermetrics and how they were used in their, I would call it kind of like the infancy of it being accepted by baseball front offices.
Also, one thing that isn't accurate.
What's that?
Is what Pena and oh my god, why am I losing his name? Jeremy
Giambi.
Yeah, Jeremy Giambi.
Yeah.
And Pena weren't actually traded on the same day. But in the movie they are.
Well, I mean, when they do Moneyball 2, there will be a, oops, we made a mistake. Here's a correction.
For the 2014 A's where they went out and traded for John Lester and Jeff Samardzija and all these big names and failed.
Yeah.
Like the movie.
I mean,
Billy Beane's still the president. Hasn't won World Series.
Overall, though, terrific movie. If you're a baseball fan. So I always have to say this, like, it's a sports movie. It's not going to win an Oscar or anything. But I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10.
We still never agree.
Yeah.
I give it 7.
Yeah, I know that I'm easy with movies. I really am. There's very few movies that I'd put under a 5. So.
Oh, I should check my IMDb ratings.
Well, I was trying to keep up with that. I mean, there's definitely some that I'd put up there in terms of the worst. But I thought Moneyball was whoever recommended Moneyball, thank you, because it was a real enjoyable 2 hours. Really liked it.
Colbster was one of the person that suggested it.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on Moneyball, Andy?
No.
No. Okay. Well, so next week. What are we doing?
See going on. Jonah Hill, though, you said serious roles. Speaking of that, there's a movie coming up this month or next month called Mid-90s, which is a serious movie that he wrote, directed, and produced. So you gotta check that out.
I will check that out. I really do like Jonah Hill as an actor, and I thought when he was really young, I thought, man, this kid has a lot of potential. I call him a kid because I think he's much younger than I am.
So it's out right now.
Well, I will have to check that out. But I think that he's great. He's great in serious roles. He's great in funny roles. He's a very funny dude, like just naturally funny. But this was a role where I don't think he had any comedy whatsoever, and he thrived in it, I thought.
What's your favorite Jonah Hill movie?
I think I got to go with Superbad, dude. I just
Superbad's awesome.
I love Superbad. I have it on
It's my favorite
DVD.
comedy of all time.
Yeah, I've watched it a billion times. It's hard to go away from that. I really liked 21 Jump Street. Thought he was great in that.
22.
Oh wait, did they call it 22?
Jump Street. That was a sequel.
Oh, I didn't see the sequel. I have to, but I really should go and watch that. But I really liked him in 21 Jump Street. But and I loved him in this. But Superbad, man, it's tough to go against that.
Yeah. Superbad's awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, we have my suggestion. I don't finally get to it.
Yeah.
I'm still deciding between two movies, to be honest. And I think I'm going to have to go with what I said I was going to go with originally, which kind of goes back to the suggestion of things being on Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive.
Okay.
So if you don't have Netflix, I apologize, because it is an Netflix exclusive. It's called Gerald's Game.
Okay.
It's based off a Stephen King novel.
Okay.
So it's a horror movie, by the way. Because mine happens to line up for Halloween.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get my pick in before Halloween. So,
You will.
Wait, hold on now. Let me pull up a calendar here. So this episode is going to release
Next week. We'll talk about it
Oh, geez.
on the Halloween episode, and you get to pick You could pick a Halloween movie.
Oh, man. I get to pick a Halloween movie on the 28th. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I look forward to it, man. I like Stephen King movies, so I go in
on
with
Netflix, by the way.
I go in with some high expectations. I really liked it.
A lot of his are hit and miss.
They are. I mean, but I even like the ones that were like made for TV, like Thinner.
Yeah.
I
Like
loved Thinner. It wasn't even it wasn't even technically a movie. I'm surprised you didn't do the actually thing on me there, because I always call it a movie even though it was a made for TV like series.
Well, now I can't actually because there is an It movie.
Well, there is an It movie, and then I don't know how to describe it. Like, as a kid, I was not alive, or maybe I just didn't remember when it actually got released on the TV.
Actually came out.
And then when they released it for home video, I mean, they kind of marketed it as a movie. But
yeah, I have the DVD for both the movie and the TV show right behind me. Right over there.
Well, there you go. I don't know. I gotta watch the new one.
I give you the digital download code.
I have it, but I did not watch it because Ashley's afraid to watch it. Spiders. She has a big spider phobia. So
I watched this movie with Erica, and she couldn't sleep for like a month. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Poor Erica.
She was scared of it for like. After it, I kind of hazed her a bit, but she was scared of it for like a year, because I would constantly go out there to the house in the middle and I go, "Hiya, Georgie."
Oh, gee, Andy, you're terrible. That's funny, but you're terrible.
We all float down here.
So, there you go. Gerald's Game next week. Check it out on Netflix.
2017 release date. Horror movie 2017.
I look forward to it. Have you seen it yet? Last question before we move on. Have you seen that movie yet?
Watched it when it came out.
Okay, cool. I have not seen it.
Yeah. But, I'm not going to say what I was going to say till next episode.
Okay.
So, now we have just the sports and the sports topics. So, speaking of sports, the Red Sox did something tonight as we're recording it. Won the pennant, going to the World Series.
Yeah.
Don't know who they're playing as of right now. You guys probably know when this comes out because the Brewers and the Dodgers play today. So, pretty interesting World Series. Have any thoughts on it?
I still think the Brewers are going to pull it out. And I'm sticking with my original prediction of the Brewers winning the World Series, and Marlins fans everywhere weep when Christian Yelich wins the MVP and World Series MVP, and I don't know what else
I have one
goes
question.
to Disney World when it's over. I don't know.
Have you followed the whole Mookie Betts catch shenanigans?
I did.
What's your thoughts on the catch?
You're not going to like me. That's my
fan
thoughts.
interference or not fan interference?
I don't think it's fan interference because fan interference by the rule, as I understand it from reading the MLB rule book, is that fan interference would be a fan reaching over the barricade, which I do not believe happened in this instance.
I feel like they reached over.
Well, we
don't
really have...
reaching over, his hand is on the one hand's on top of the thing, and the other hand's like that.
I don't know, dude. It's like one of the. I'll be honest with you. Like if it were me, if I'm the umpire, I mean, his original
call was fan interference, and I don't think there's enough to flip it. That's why it stayed.
So my call would have been the opposite, which is it's a home run. I don't think it would have mattered. Just my take. I think the Red Sox were going to win that game anyway.
I mean, if they called a home run, it'd be tied 8-8 bottom or at the end of the ninth.
I don't think they win that ball game. I don't think they win the series either. I honestly think this is a lesser version of the Bartman controversy.
Yeah.
That Bartman is not why that team lost that series. Bartman is not the reason. Neither is the actual fan who hit that ball.
Well,
Chicago was blowing that game.
They got caught trying to cheat. So.
I'm sorry?
The Astros are 0-4 since they got caught trying to cheat.
Yeah. Fair.
So.
Fair point. But, yeah, I think it's much ado about nothing. Red Sox were clearly the better team this year. Astros, they'll be back. They'll be back. I know that's not much solace for Astros fans, but I don't think they were winning that series. Red Sox have been the hottest baseball team all year, and I don't think anybody's going to stop them other than Christian Yelich. Yeah, Christian Yelich will put an end to it, though.
If they win series.
It'll happen. It's going to happen.
To win next two.
It's going to happen.
All right, then we have some NBA news breaking this morning for us. The NBA is going to offer one-and-done players, instead of going to college, $125 million to play in the G League.
Whoa, $125K.
Yeah, $125, Alex. Yeah,
$125,000 a year to play in the G League if you are a potential one-and-done player. I mean, obviously, they haven't hammered out how many players this would be offered to or what the criteria would be per se. Do you have any thoughts on it, Andy?
My personal thoughts is Duke's got to pay their players more.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I sat there and when I read this article, I sat long and hard about this because I think
all that's going to happen is that the colleges just going to start paying them more under the table.
So I thought I could be wrong on this, Andy, but I know that you and I have a little bit of a different way of looking at collegiate sports. So I think that as time has gone on, as more scandals have come to light, as federal investigations continue to this very day, I feel like the NCAA is slowly becoming the most corrupt sports organization in the United States.
Outside of FIFA. Yeah, in the United States, yeah.
In the United States, I think they're the most corrupt organization by far. And
in the world, I'll say it's number 2.
I find myself conflicted with it because so many times I sit there and I go, why do we even bother with collegiate sports? What's the point? It seems so antiquated to me. But then I know people personally, like I worked with a lady whose daughter went to a very small school in her state on a volleyball full ride scholarship. Yeah. She's a very, very good volleyball player. It's a very small school. Who cares about that? This girl, there's nobody in the world, I'm fairly certain of this, paying watch a scandal come out. But I don't think anybody's paying women's volleyball players underneath the table, right? So to me, that's the embodiment of the true original intent of collegiate sports and using scholarships to attract good players and things like that.
There's a way that they can pay them not under the table, like volleyball girls. And that's if their full ride, if it doesn't like, the full ride or whatever is like a certain set amount of money. All right. And then if your classes or whatever doesn't cost that much, they still give you the money in the full ride.
Okay.
So technically, it's still kind of paying.
Well, the compensation is free tuition, room and board in a lot of cases and sometimes it can be partial or whatever. My point in all of this is I don't want to be the guy sitting here saying we need to abolish it all because it's corrupt. But I do think that specifically with men's football, I said men's football, that's kind of redundant. There's no women's football at this point. With football and men's basketball, and to a very lesser extent, women's basketball, I feel like there's a lot of corruption, a lot of money changing hands underneath the table. And some of it's even coming from shoe companies. It's being funneled from shoe companies to players underneath the table. It's really unfortunate. It's a bad mark for the sport. And I never thought I'd find myself saying this. I thought not having an age requirement in the NBA ruined the league because for every LeBron, there was a Deshaun Stevenson. Like, look up the list of players that went directly from high school to the NBA. You'll think of the Kobe's and the LeBrons, but there's a lot more. Like Darius Miles.
Those are the current ones.
Well, I'm just thinking like Darius Miles, Kwame Brown, Deshaun Stevenson.
But at the same time,
Sebastian Telfair. Guys like that never panned out. Same exact time,
though. Are they not panning out because they came out of high school? But because there's also the same amount of bust from college.
I think that's a fair point, Andy. My thing is this. I never thought I'd be saying this because I hated when you would draft an 18-year-old kid and you just hope that this project turned into a good player. I kind of looked at college basketball as a farm system. Well, this helps me make sure that I get a good pro player that will be a good contributor right away.
Recently, the G League is legit now. I think it's like 66. It's like 66 to 75% of any NBA players currently rostered have played one game in the G League.
I mean, well, there you go. I think the G League is a huge step in the right direction. But my thing about this, to circle back to my point about college sports, originally when I saw this, I thought, well, geez, this will just stop people from paying players under the table. No, they'll just find the next best guy and pay him, or they'll pay him more than $125K. I don't know. And it's just, how do you end it? Even getting rid of the age requirement. Like, let's just say an NBA player could go, right, and go right out of high school. You don't think there's still kids that aren't good enough for that, but there's still a good college player that would get money under the table? It never ends.
Colleges will still,
It never ends. So I felt, at first I was relieved, and then I felt helpless. Like, I feel like it's always going to be a problem.
Been following the Zion Williamson stuff recently, which probably started this.
I read a little bit about it, a little bit,
where there was leaked text messages about someone getting paid, Zion, which he apparently, this is like, if I'm not leading into anything, Zion decided, how about I don't get paid by Kansas and go to Duke for free?
Oh, you're talking about, I did see that. I think somebody on Twitter put it best, is like, oh yeah, he just didn't take the money and then he just went to Duke for nothing.
He went to Duke for nothing.
I'm sorry. I think that this sport is tarnished. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I don't enjoy NCAA basketball. And I have a harder time enjoying NCAA football because
a lot of people are the other way and they don't like NBA and they prefer college. But,
I get that. I get that because
the NBA way more.
I get that because the NBA is super teams and then everybody else
No, a person I could take a direct quote for that I know in person says that college basketball is better because the NBA doesn't look like they're trying the entire time because they kind of are like slower. The pace of the game is slower. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I ask who said that?
You don't know.
Is he like an analyst, or is he
No, you wouldn't know.
Oh, so he's like somebody just personally.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, hey man, whatever your bag is, that's fine. I like, it's just a really big cloud that hovers over it. As I watch college football every Saturday, because I inevitably get bored and start watching college football. Now usually we like playing on my laptop, trying to promote the channel or this show or both. But, like, I watch it and I sit there and I go, I wonder how many of these guys are paid. It just kind of ruins it for me.
Cam Newton, like the thing about the 125K, the only person we know how much he got paid is Cam Newton. He got paid $200,000. He's a football player, and college basketball is way bigger. So I don't feel like the top tier players are definitely getting paid way more than 125K.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good gesture, and I see what the NBA is trying to do, and I think that removing the age requirement will help a lot, but I think that those boosters that are paying people on their table are just going to find the next best guy. I just thought it was an interesting topic. I thought it'd be interesting to get your take on it, and I don't think that we disagree on it as much as I thought, so it's kind of interesting.
I mean, I still think college players should be paid.
I think they should, well, see, that's where it gets tricky. How much?
All get paid the same.
So you're gonna pay the halfback for Middle Tennessee State University the same amount of money.
No.
So
all the players on the team get paid the same.
Okay.
It's like part of the scholarship. It's not like part of the scholarship, you know what I mean? It's part of the incentive to go to that college.
I think the best idea somebody had that I thought was a good one was they basically work out how much the player earned, and then once they get out of college, they just give them the money. You give it to them then. But then again, I mean, I think that part of the problem too is a lot of these kids need money to, have a social life and take care of bills at home and all that. So yeah. I think that's part. It's a tough question.
It's the same reason why Emmanuel Mudiay went to China instead of playing college.
I mean, that's the other thing is for years, these basketball players could probably easily go to Europe and play. I know Brandon Jennings did it, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's a tough question to fix. I think that the corruption needs to end as long as, not to get too political here, but as long as these schools are taking federal funds in some way, shape, or form, the corruption needs to stop. It's technically illegal if they're paying players under the table. That's why there's federal investigations into this stuff. You cannot take federal funding and pay people under the table. It doesn't work. You can't do that. It's illegal.
I'm sure it happens in the government too.
No. Andy, you trust the government with everything, and don't you ask questions. Get in line.
Tell you what I do.
Get in line, young man.
Exactly, because I don't really care.
Well, I think you care more than you think.
No, it's all good.
You seem like you have opinions on things. And as you get older, I think you will care more. But that's just...
At the end of the day, if I can just have my bowl of oatmeal and watch C-SPAN every morning, I'm good.
He says he doesn't care, watches C-SPAN. I mean, it's just...
You gotta keep up to date. Like, I don't have any opinions
about it. It's a constant. That's like... I almost want to call it a conflict of interest. It's such a... Oh, God. Anyway, let's move on.
I mean, you can watch something without opinions.
You're right. You're right. It's a fair point.
Just like allegedly came at me with the movie and thing a couple times ago. All right, next time.
Wait, what? I don't remember
Where I was like, you covered it.
Ah, fair. Okay, yeah. That's a good one. Good one.
All right. We have, before we get to the NFL, we have NBA opening games for all the teams. Anything stand out to you for the opening games, or did you not pay attention?
I'll be honest with you. I've lost my passion for the NBA.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this year to watch more games than I did last year. I used to be a League Pass customer.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever get back to that. But the last couple of years, all I've done is watch the Magic and then watch some of the national games and then watch the playoffs. So I guess I'm what you would call a casual fan. And when I say some of the national games, I mean some, not all.
I watched 0.
Some. So Magic won. I know that. I don't expect that to continue.
Aaron Gordon had a good game.
You know, I guess here's the thing. Like,
I think he went 23-16. I don't know.
I don't want to get into this whole rant. I know I've done this a billion times on my streams, so it's just it's gonna be very, very. That is a very good game. It's gonna be very old news for some people, but I just lost interest when it became the Warriors and the Cavs for like 3 straight years, and you just kind of know who's gonna win. Last year there was a little bit of intrigue, like when it was Rockets Warriors. I thought that was a really, really good series that really reinvigorated things. But
Celtics are winning it all this year, so.
But we still ended up with Warriors Cavs. And it just gets old, dude. Like, it's like watching a movie and you know what the ending's going to be. You know? It's just how I feel about it. And, like, the other thing,
grand
too.
Picture, though, that's always in the NBA. Throughout the entire history.
No.
It's always been Celtics, Lakers.
You're right. You're right. I mean, if you.
All championships are Celtics and Lakers.
And if you look at the list of teams that have actually won an NBA championship, it's really small. And then if you look at the last 20 years, it's even smaller. And there's just not enough parity for me. I guess that's my biggest issue.
If you look at the 60s, it's 2.
I mean, yeah. So, like, my issue is, you know, over the last 10 years or so, there's teams that are playing meaningless games in January. I mean, that's a reality in the NBA. And part of it might also be the fact that the Magic are so bad. They are atrocious. Since they traded Dwight Howard, they have the league's worst cumulative record. So I watch them. I suffer through it. I watch some of the other games, but I'm not the mega fan that I used to be.
Celtics had a fun one.
Yeah.
Opened the NBA season against the Sixers. Jason Tatum had himself a nice game, which is always fun because I watched Jason Tatum play in high school. The exact stats is he had 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on 59 touches. To put in comparison with those stats, he touched the ball the same amount of times Harrison Barnes does in a game. So, he also shot at 52% percentage.
Well, there you go. I think Jason Tatum is in line for another big jump this year.
All over ESPN has been Jason Tatum is a star. And Kyrie, once again, it's kind of like Neymar. Kyrie changed teams, and he's not going to be the star of the team. Neymar in soccer, he was behind Messi, which I think is his name you should know.
Yeah.
The greatest, some people argue greatest soccer player ever. He changed teams to PSG because he was tired of being in Messi's shadow. And this 19-year-old young kid named Mbappe has become just a god in soccer.
Well, it doesn't always work out the way you think it will. But, I mean, I would tell you that it's probably in Kyrie Irving's best interest to stay in Boston for a variety of reasons. But
quote, if you'll have me, I plan on resigning.
Yeah, I think I think he'll stay.
I don't know. Like, some people think he's gonna leave the whole stuff, but like, if you look at the roster and how young it is, who would leave?
You wouldn't.
Potential.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, I still think that he'll be the face of the team.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's their most marketable guy. I don't know how much that really matters, but I think it does. And then I think, you know, who wouldn't want to be kind of the veteran who guides the young team to a championship or deep playoff runs or whatever? You
But
know,
he has playoff experience. He has the championships he's already had.
there's nothing wrong with that. And I still think Kyrie Irving is still absolutely going to get his. He's going to get points. He's going to get assists. He's going to look like $1 million playing with those young guys. Same thing goes for Gordon Hayward. I think both of them will stay where they are. It's a really, really good example of how to rebuild a team, what Boston has done up there. Danny Ainge.
I seriously think they can beat the Warriors.
Starting
lineup versus starting lineup, the Warriors win. But the Celtics, no team matches their depth.
I could see it. I'm not going to rule it out. It's just, even if it's not this year, I think I have a sneaking suspicion Durant is gone after this year.
A lot of people think he's going to go to the Knicks, which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think he's going to go to the Knicks. I just think that he's going to go somewhere else. I think that Kevin Durant is approaching LeBron James territory.
Klay Thompson's going to leave too.
If Durant left and ended up playing in LA with LeBron, would you be that surprised? It wouldn't surprise me. I just
want to see it.
I wouldn't want to see it, but then again, I just won't watch it, which is a lot of what I do now.
Boat happen than that.
Well, you know, I guess my thing is LeBron, his legacy will be that, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He's absolutely 100% the best basketball player on the planet today. Might be the greatest of all time. I'm not going to get into that debate. It's a really dumb. Well, I just don't think that it's a valid debate for a number of reasons. But, and I'm not saying LeBron isn't the best. I'm just saying comparing different players from different eras with different rules and different levels of competition and all that, it's kind of silly. What's up?
If aliens came down to Earth.
Yes.
And you had to beat them in a 1v1 basketball game with the current rules, you had to pick one person in their prime all time. Who's it going to be?
LeBron James.
All right.
Because the current rules suit his game. I think that if we took LeBron James and put him in the 80s, he would struggle a little.
How about the rules go with the player in their prime, like the rules that they played with?
As someone who grew up watching Michael Jordan, it would probably be Michael Jordan. But I kind of want to say Kareem.
Or Wilt.
It's tough. Because then you
sneaky one in there.
Yeah, and then you start thinking about like, well, how do I compare a big man to a little man?
Yeah.
What about Oscar Robertson, who averaged a triple-double before anybody thought that was even possible?
That's only ever happened twice, ever.
Yeah. So, you know, like, is it his fault that he wasn't 7 foot tall? Because if he was 7 foot tall with that kind of a skill set, I mean, he would have been the greatest basketball player of all time. It's really tough to compare people, so I don't really want to get into that. But my point in all of it was LeBron, his legacy will be that kind of a mercenary. He started in Cleveland. He went to Miami. It was a way to get some championships and play some great basketball with some other great players. And then after 4 years, that was done, and he went back to Cleveland. He got his championship there.
Legacy with your generation.
Probably.
Amongst younger generations, his legacy is the greatest of all time.
Well, there you go. But I just think that there's no loyalty in it. And that's something that my generation has a hard time accepting. But
that's just how current basketball is, though.
But I think a lot of younger basketball fans don't follow teams. I think a lot of them follow players. To me, that's asinine. Because my question, and I dealt with this with some people in my generation. Oh, well, you know, I don't really follow teams. I just follow Michael Jordan. Well, what happens when he retires? You just stop watching basketball? Like, how does that work? It's just silly to me. But I mean, it's a concept that's foreign to me. So, like, it's probably foreign to them that I follow one team.
Understand the concept because, obviously, I have my favorite teams. Huge Celtics fan. But I'm also a huge LeBron fan. But there's also players that, like, I'm a big Chris Middleton fan, which is kind of random. Or, like, I really like George Springer of the Astros. Like there's some players in the league that I really like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really like a lot of
I love
players on other
Mack,
teams too.
even back when he's a Raider.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is like,
It's the same concept, but you don't follow your own team.
I work with somebody who annoys me. Okay, they annoy me. They annoy me a lot. Okay, and
Yeah.
one of the many reasons they annoy me. This is low on the list, but it's just another reason it annoys me. Is when LeBron played in Cleveland. Even though they're not from Cleveland, they've probably never been to Cleveland. They're a Cleveland fan. And then when LeBron went to Miami, oh man, they're a Miami fan. And now they're a Lakers fan. Pretty sure of it. Don't work with them anymore, but I worked with them and they annoyed the crap out of me. Anyway.
It's just the current
Well, I don't know.
Basketball situation.
We
went through basketball situation at all levels.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that I'll ever become the same level of NBA fan that I used to be. So, any more thoughts on the NBA, Andy? Before we move on to NFL Week 7, a league that I'm really excited about because it has parity.
The last thing is I made my predictions for the season.
Okay.
In fact, I'll quickly go through them and see your thoughts if I can find it real fast. Because I have been using Twitter a lot recently. If you don't follow me, check it out. Links in the description. So, I mean, all right, my predictions are champions Boston Celtics, no bias.
Okay.
MVP Giannis.
Okay.
Rookie of the Year DeAndre Ayton. Coach of the Year Mike Budenholzer. Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert. Sixth man Terry Rozier, and Most Improved Jamal Murray.
It's fair.
So let's just get one prediction from you. Who thinks MVP?
Well, so for championship, I'm going to say Warriors.
Yeah.
MVP, I'm going to say James Harden. James Harden has, by the way, should have won that award two times in the past and didn't win it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go James.
More than 2 times.
Well, 2 times by my count. And there was a year where James Harden was on the Rockets and they won, I think, like 44, 45 games. And he should have been the MVP because without him, they would have won 20, maybe. Yeah. So I got that. And then let's see. Most Improved, can't really make a prediction there. It's not really one that I feel qualified to make. Rookie of the Year, Ayton's a good one. I would also say the young kid in Atlanta whose name escapes me at the moment. Young. Yeah, that would be my other guy to look out for. And then Coach of the Year, I'm going to say Dwayne Casey. Now, it's a weird one, but I think that he never should have been fired in the first place, and I think he's going to do wonders in Detroit with that team, which I think is sneaky good.
I don't know if I agree with that, but you never know.
I don't know, man. I hope it works out.
Teams surprise you every year.
I hope it works out for him. Dwayne Casey's a good coach.
We have NFL Week number 7 predictions.
Woo! Boy, this NFL season's flying by, and it makes me a little sad because I hate when it's over.
So, anything stick out to you last week?
Jaguars, I don't know what the hell is going on. Cowboys looked good. That was bizarre. Shout out to Colby. Yeah. I know he was loving it. Buccaneers looked pretty good against Atlanta, and I'm trying to figure out if that's an indictment of Atlanta's ability or if it means that the Bucs are better than I think they were. I don't know what to think of those two teams in the NFC South. I'm fairly certain that the Bucs are just bad and the Atlanta Falcons are worse than we think. And Tampa Bay fired their defensive coordinator this week. I know you asked me for things that stuck out, but I just have to go give a little Bucs report here. That's not going to fix things. I hope they know that. it's not his fault that secondary is trash. You need to fire the
It's also not his
GM.
fault for injuries.
Well, they assembled a collection of clowns. I called them something worse than that on Twitter this week. They assembled a collection of clowns for their secondary, and then they drafted some kids. The clowns got hurt. The kids have to play now. They're not ready to play. It's a recipe for disaster. They get torched every week. And then I have to say, Seattle continues to impress me. I'm shocked at how good this Seattle team is. Their defense is playing better than everybody expected. The O-line seems to have gelled. Never expected it. Great job, Seattle. Great job, Pete.
Only thing I could add to that is Brock Osweiler beat the Bears.
Brock Osweiler
And he's
played
getting the starter job tomorrow.
Played
or
it.
Sunday, today.
He played a good game.
Yeah.
Make fun of him all you want. He played a good game. Shout out to my mom. Glad the Dolphins won.
The mighty Chiefs go down in a shootout with the Pats.
That was a hell of a game. That was a wonderful, wonderful primetime game. And I think that if those two teams meet in the playoffs, I think the Chiefs are going to take it.
Yeah.
I like that they stuck in that game. Those Chiefs fought back. They could have given up. They were down by 2 scores. They came back.
Yeah.
They tied it up. They made it a ball game. That's a good team. Watch out for them in the playoffs. Also,
the 49ers almost beat the Packers.
Also, I got to say this. Yeah. Going back to Seattle. Seattle keeps playing the way they are. Pete Carroll's going to be your coach of the year.
Oof. Who was your coach of the year?
Andy Reid.
I think I also had Andy Reid.
I think
Maybe.
before the season, I said Doug Marrone. I thought Doug Marrone. First off, Doug Marrone deserved coach of the year last year.
Who was
So
my coach of the year? Oh, my coach of the year is definitely mine was Pat Shermer.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's not even his fault either. I just don't think that team's built to win.
Did have the 1 week 7-game Thursday Night Football. The Arizona Cardinals continue. Just look.
I think
best team in the league.
I know we didn't text each other before this, but we could go off in the honor system here. I had Denver, and I know you did too, right? Okay. Yeah.
If you had Denver in your fantasy league, you are a happy, very happy person right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Josh Rosen experiment continues, and
Throw 2 pick sixes in
I just don't think he's ready
the
yet.
first quarter, I believe.
Yeah, I just don't think he's ready yet.
All right, let's get into our picks. We start off the Sunday with Tennessee at the Los Angeles Chargers, which I will be going with the LA Chargers.
Yeah, I'm still really lukewarm on Tennessee. And I know this game's in London. Those games get a little bit odd. And I realize San Diego probably has a tougher journey than they do. But I'm going Chargers.
All right, then we have the New England Patriots after defeating the undefeated Chiefs. Going up another team that's super hyped up right now, the Chicago Bears, coming off a loss from the Dolphins. And I think the Bears go down 2 weeks in a row, and the New England Patriots pick up another one.
Yeah, I think they're going to throw a lot of stuff at Trubisky that he's not used to seeing. Belichick always does that with young QBs. So I'm sorry, I'm going with the Patriots here.
We have the Buffalo Bills at Indianapolis Colts. Buffalo still just... They announced the starter. I can't remember who it is.
Derek Anderson.
Yeah, Derek
a
Anderson.
guy that they signed and brought in this week.
And he's not going to win.
Probably not. I think it's a really tough matchup for him, even against a very beatable Indianapolis team. But Indianapolis has shown that they can hang with some good teams, so I feel like this is a easy win for Indy at home.
We have the 3-3 Houston Texans against the surprisingly 3-3 Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah,
Coming off an
Jaguars.
embarrassing loss.
I'm going with the Jaguars here. Jalen Ramsey is not saying much in interviews, and that scares me. An angry Jalen Ramsey scares me, so watch out, Deshaun Watson.
Have you seen the quarterback hit numbers between other teams versus the Texans?
No.
They are in first place in quarterback hits by a lot. Not like them hitting quarterback, by Deshaun Watson getting hits. He's been quarterback hit, I think it's 70 times now.
Yeah.
And like the next closest team is like 58.
I mean, it's
Not protecting him at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough go of it in Houston, and I think, unfortunately, like a lot of scrambling quarterbacks, they think, well, he'll be able to run away from it or whatever. It's not a good situation. Russell Wilson. Well, Russell Wilson
in years past,
he had
a pretty decent line.
He had a tough go of it last season. I'm surprised he made it through the entire season without having some kind of an injury. He was getting killed back there.
I will say, as a 49ers fan, I don't know how Russell Wilson does it. He'll just run around for like an hour and then somehow get it done.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And we have, after that, the Detroit Lions, the 2-3 Lions, which I predicted them to start off 0-5.
Yeah.
Shout out to my predictions. Up against the New York Jets. And, they're going up against the Miami Dolphins. Screwed the pooch on that one.
It's all
I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions anyways.
I am going to go with the Dolphins here. I like this young Dolphins team. I know I've been saying it all year, but go Fins, I guess.
Brock Osweiler, they're 2-0 with the Dolphins, according to your predictions.
It's a good team.
Then we have the Minnesota Vikings up against the New York Jets. And I have the Minnesota Vikings winning in New York.
Yeah, I like the Vikings here, even though I still have a lot of questions about them.
I really want Dalvin Cook to step it up. I mean, he has been injury riddled the entire throughout this year.
Eventually, he will be healthy. He'll get the touches, and he's got to make it work. I think he will, though.
And then we have Carolina in Philadelphia, and I have Philly winning at home.
I am also going to take Philly. I think this is a good matchup for them. If they were on the road, I'd take the Panthers here, though.
Yeah. We have the 2-3-1 Cleveland Browns versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before I make my pick, do you think this goes to OT? Because Cleveland seems to do that every week.
Well, they're playing the Buccaneers, so I don't think that it will go to OT. And here's why I'm taking the Browns. Jameis Winston hates getting pressured, and when he gets pressured, he makes mistakes, specifically fumbles and forced throws, but more so fumbles than interceptions. This is his biggest problem. And, boy, Cleveland has a really great habit of getting to the quarterback. So I'm taking the Browns here.
Really?
And I don't think
turnovers every week.
I don't think it goes to OT. What'd you say about every week?
They get a lot of turnovers.
Oh, yeah. I told Ashley, I'm like, might want to think about playing that Browns D this Sunday in fantasy football because I think they're available in a lot of leagues. And
yeah. They're not projected that many points, but they get a lot of sacks and
interceptions. A lot of sacks. Who do you got in that game?
In that game, Cleveland.
Okay, yeah.
Bucks are in my Arizona territory. Oh, we're gonna put it that way.
Ouch.
The Arizona, Buffalo, San Francisco territory.
Yeah.
So we have the New Orleans Saints at the Baltimore Ravens. 4-1 Saints at 4-2 Ravens, and I gotta go with the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I have this
Kamara's step back or comeback game.
Yeah, I really. Well, he didn't have a bad week. It's just, that game turned into a blowout, and they wanted to get Mark Ingram some work because he was coming out for the first time. And, yeah, I get that. I think Kamara's going to have a good game here. I know that the Ravens have the best rush defense in the NFL. I think that's about to change. New Orleans really does change the game plan for a lot of teams. So I'm going with New Orleans here. No disrespect to Baltimore, though. I know I have a lot of Baltimore fans that listen to the podcast.
All right, then we have the Dallas Cowboys coming off a huge win to the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Washington Redskins that just got blown out by the New Orleans Saints. And I have the Redskins, which I feel like the Cowboys might feel a little bit too cocky and then blow the lead.
Yeah, this game is my coin flip game of the week. Bringing back a throwback, but yeah, I flipped a coin on this one and I got Washington. It's two teams that I don't know what to expect from them week to week. Hell, the whole NFC East is weird.
And also I feel like the team that I would put that the most on is the Titans. Because they go out there and get big wins against big teams. They lose to Buffalo.
I think they should transfer to the NFC East, and they just have all the confusing
the NFC East
teams.
is wide open.
Yeah, make it even more wide open.
Then we have the 6-0 Rams. Or should I say the 7-0 Rams in San Francisco. Going to take down Casey Jarrett Beathard, the GOAT.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to give them a little bit of hell, but I still have the Rams in this one.
It's just sad. It really is. All right. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City shutout game against New England. We got the first loss. And even if they lost the Patriots, I still am going to say this every week. Until someone proves me wrong, I'm going with the Chiefs. The Patriots technically did, but that was a field goal game, literally. The last second field goal won the game.
Yeah, I got to go Chiefs here.
Which I do really like the Bengals this year, too.
I don't. I think they're very inconsistent within individual games. I think they're also very inconsistent week to week.
All right. And then we have, back to the NFC East, the New York Giants versus the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams struggling. And I have the New York Giants winning it.
I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons here, but this is another one that I thought was very difficult to call because I don't, again, much like the Washington and Dallas game, I don't know what to expect from both of these teams week to week. I thought the Falcons were going to curb stomp the Bucs.
Yeah.
And they came out, they started hot. It was looking that way. And then they let them back into the football game, which is something the Falcons have struggled with. So it'll be fun.
Oh.
Get to see Barkley.
And division rivalry, or just team straight up in that?
No, I just think that it's, the Falcons.
Do you ever consider division rivalry in games?
I do, because the teams know each other better.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. But there's a reason why the Ravens and the Steelers always have good games, because a lot of those guys either used to play for the Steelers or the Ravens or vice versa, and they coaching staff kind of knows each other, and they play twice a year and all that. I mean, NFC West is famous for it, dude. Like there's so many times where there'd be a garbage team in the NFC West who'd beat another NFC West team just because it's like, well, they have their number.
This week when Casey Jarrett Beathard takes down LA.
Maybe. I mean, it could happen. Tennessee, as average as I think they are, they have Jacksonville's number. If Tennessee got the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs last year, they would have beat the Jags. No question about it. They have their number. They know what to do. I don't know what it is, but they have their number.
That reminded me, we're completely past film talk.
Yeah.
But the trade deadline scene in Moneyball.
Yeah.
Really liked it.
It was a good one. It was a really, really good one.
Probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I just remembered another thing about the movie, but I guess I'll keep it to myself.
No, go ahead.
With the whole things being accurate, the actual game, to win the 20-game win streak, was so accurate to what actually happened in real life that at one point it shows this, like, the scoreboard, and it shows a game that happened. It was like the Angels winning 4-2.
Yeah,
and it was accurate on that too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did a great job with accuracy, as much as possible, on the things that they could get accurate.
Yeah.
So
with that, it's the end of the show. We always have Alexander plug his things.
Well, our things. So if you're watching the video version of the podcast on YouTube, there are audio versions out there if you want to take us on the go, if you want to listen to Andy in the car. It's a great experience. I've done it myself. I just skipped the parts with me, and I just listened to the Andy parts. But anyway, you could do that. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud. Not SoundCloud. I always say SoundCloud, but we're not on SoundCloud. Everything but SoundCloud, basically. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher.
All your preferred podcast listening service.
You can even go to deadchannelduo.com and listen to the show directly there. I think you can even directly download it
from the source.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, that's the good one, man. That's like the Fiji water. But nevertheless, and then if you're listening to the audio version, if you want to see what our faces look like and see things that we mention that are visual, and you're wondering why are these guys talking about stuff when I can't see their faces, well, there is a video version on YouTube. All you got to do is go to youtube.com and search for Dead Channel Duo. We got t-shirts, links in the description. If you buy a T-shirt, full transparency, we make about $4, so it does help fund the show, which costs us about at least $15 a month to produce and all that, plus time and effort. So, buy a T-shirt, wear a DCD T-shirt to a job interview. I promise you'll get the job. Or a date. Makes a great first impression.
Yeah. Buy one for your mom.
Meeting potential in-laws for the first time. Wear a DCD T-shirt. They'll be impressed. Oh, yeah, man. They'll be like, oh, those are the guys that talk about aliens and machine races. So, yeah, there's all that. And then, finally, I did not check this week. So, as I let Andy wrap up, I'll make sure that nobody left us one. But if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and make sure you write a review so I know who you are, I'll give you a shout-out here on the podcast. And I'll give you a fun fact that only I know about you.
And I'll follow you on Twitter.
There you go. I'll follow you on Twitter as well.
Which I probably should catch up on that. But my thing is, I have a Asterisk Film Club thing I'm going to mention at the end, which we're not going to talk about next week, but the Asterisk Film Club. Since the Red Sox in the World Series, go watch Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch is an outstanding...
Love it.
Yeah, it's an outstanding movie, and I highly recommend it to anybody out there.
Or watch the 30 for 30, 4 days in October, which is the best 30 for 30. Don't at me.
Wait, what?
Go watch the 30 for 30, 4 days in October, which is the best 30 for 30. Don't at me.
Wow. That's a pretty good one. It's a pretty hot take. I would say my favorite 30 for 30, and there's a lot of good ones, is Unguarded. I thought Unguarded was just exceptional, and a great story. Hard to watch story, but a great story.
4 days in October is the best story of them all.
Well, there you go. Don't at me.
Get taken down.
And we do have a shout out this week for a 5-star review, and that goes to Bobby, aka Qbanslim. Great follow on Twitter, and oh man, I don't have a fact about Bobby at the ready right now. Oh, I'll give you one.
It's Celtics one. Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Bobby has made the commitment. If you guys haven't noticed already, he's a huge World of Warcraft fan. He's made a commitment to me to bother Andy with listener questions every week until he does that World of Warcraft playthrough. So shout out to Bobby and his dedication.
I thought about it when I'm going to do it. And I guess I got to say it so it forces me to do it then. But for the 50th special of the podcast.
Well, there you go. There you go. We could even put it on this channel. Why not?
Yeah.
So, now that I'm done with all my pitch stuff, Andy, go into yours.
We'll make it 50 because you're going to quit for Alex Talks Aliens.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I don't have anything. So that's it for the Dead Channel Duo Show, episode number 16. Make sure you come back to us next week. Always come out Sunday around 12 o'clock.
All right.
Eastern time.
All right. See you guys next week for 17. Bye.
Bye.